Hello, Martin. How are you?
How are you?
Raise a glass.
There you go.
Now, can you tell us why we're here tonight?
Well, we're here to talk about Gay and how Gay Byrne, how what he meant to us, and as from the time he started in 1962. I was born in '62, so I
Mm,
remember him all my life, as I'm sure you do.
I do. I do. Can you tell us, just for anyone who's watching who doesn't know who Gay Byrne is, basically, why is he so famous? Or was he so
Well,
famous because he's passed away
he's
this week?
very much a famous broadcaster. He's very much like the daddy of RTE television, of their chat shows and
Yeah,
all of that. And he brought the voice of everything into Ireland as it's been modernized.
yeah. Basically, um, he was the main broadcaster in Ireland at a time when everybody would watch his show. So he had access to the whole nation. He basically, everybody tuned in to watch the Late Late Show on a Friday night or a Saturday night, I think it was for a while. And he's a bit of an all round legend, isn't he, really?
Well, he was like our Parkinson
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Michael Aspel or whoever,
yeah,
that type.
yeah. Or he's like the guy in America, I forget his name now, who's, what's his
Johnny
name?
Carson.
Johnny Carson,
Yeah.
yeah. He was the
And
Johnny
Jay
Carson,
Leno.
and Jay Leno, he was the
Yeah.
Johnny Carson of Ireland.
Yeah.
But of course, at the time in Ireland, it was a different country to what it is now, wasn't
Very,
it?
very different.
It was,
I mean, television, when it started in '62, it was only in its infancy.
mm,
And he brought it along and he modernized our way of thinking of ourselves as Irish people
yeah.
and brought out our culture to the world and our
So
whole
Ireland
being.
was dominated by the Catholic Church at that
Very
stage,
much
wasn't
so.
it?
Yeah, very
Yeah,
much so. I mean, the church, as it has done throughout the world, the Catholic Church, it has its good points,
mm,
but it's not moving with, it hasn't moved with the times
yeah.
because
My,
people can't be um, oppressed in a way that they can't, it's in our nature
yeah.
to progress and want to move on.
Yeah, my dad said about the Catholic Church in Ireland. So my dad is born in 1942. It's kind of just after Irish independence. He's kind of the first generation. But he always said the Brits moved out of Ireland and the church moved in, and they kind of filled the vacuum.
Yeah.
And it was mixed in with the whole 1916, the Easter Rising.
But also the people of that time were far more innocent, and they didn't
Yeah,
need the 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 lock that the church
yeah,
had on them.
yeah,
It was like putting them in a penalty box,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's morally and ethically wrong.
yeah. And everybody went to mass, didn't they? Really, in
Yeah,
Ireland.
yeah,
Like I grew up in the 80s in Ireland,
yeah,
and there was no divorce,
yeah,
no abortion,
yeah.
no gays,
No.
no condoms.
Well, they were all on the
There was
ground.
no condoms. You couldn't even buy a packet of
Yeah,
condoms.
yeah.
I think condoms were only made legal in what, the 90s, wasn't it?
I remember in 1987 when Virgin
Yeah.
Megastore was opened.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
And I remember being in.
Aston
I
Key.
was I was looking for Star Trek had come out on video,
Yeah,
and I remember these people came in and they were all very religious and they had a big huge crucifix and they were giving the girl behind the counter a hard time about because condoms were being sold in Virgin Megastore,
yeah,
and I couldn't stop laughing,
yeah.
because they were saying like you're morally and ethically wrong and you'll be burned in hell and all
Really?
those type of words,
Oh
and
my God.
it was breaking me up.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was just laughing,
It's
you
it's
know.
at the time as well. The AIDS was starting and everything, and
Yeah.
HIV, and oh, it's just terrible. But Gay Byrne famously produced the condom on the Late Late
The
Show, and
show that he put it on his fingers,
yeah,
and he went down like that. And I remember a guy got very irate with him and saying, "This is disgusting." And
on the show,
yeah,
and we've seen it all in the last few days.
yeah.
They've replayed it, and the guy is like, "Oh, my daughter will be watching this show.
And he had a son 27.
My
You know,
son is watching this
yeah.
show."
And Gabriel said, "Your son at 27,
Yeah,
you don't want him to see about condoms,
yeah.
you know."
But Gay Byrne kind of couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
That the
But he
guy
had
in
a
the audience.
way of putting across something without being too. He was able to understand the innocence of that man to a degree because he was kind of
Yeah,
innocent. He was afraid of change.
yeah. Well, the thing about that piece with that man in the audience was he was able to extract from that man.
Mm,
Now he extracted from that man the way he really felt.
yeah.
He really didn't want.
But
He was shocked by
but he
condoms.
also gave him time.
Yeah,
He didn't criticize him too much. He just
yeah,
sort of said, your children, the ages that they were. But the man realized himself as he was realizing after what he said that I'm not thinking my children are, they're
Mm.
not children, they're young adults.
Mm.
And he allowed him to have that moment
Yeah.
to reflect on that in his mind. You could see the way his thinking processes were.
Yeah.
And man was realizing, I'm on air and I'm saying this. This sounds
Yeah.
really, I'm too kind of,
Yeah. But that was a typical interview from the
Yeah,
Late Late Show,
yeah.
wasn't it? That
But people weren't used to anything like that.
and he just broke the mold in
Yeah.
so many ways, didn't he?
But he was so good at the way he would talk to people,
yeah.
in terms of he let them have their space. He would draw them out because he was a journalist.
Yeah.
So he was able to get inside of the person in a philosophical way
Yeah.
that allowed them to relax.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of journalists have. They have that ability
Yeah.
to get into your thing, how they have a chat with you beforehand, or if they can, if they're going in, like when he would interview people that in his panel,
Yeah.
he would get to talk to them beforehand in the green room and say,
Yeah.
look, we're going to do this subject and whatever. And if they were just members of the public or whoever it was
Mm.
that they were coming on, he'd get that they were comfortable with the
Yeah.
subject. But obviously people in the audience weren't, so they were afraid of the actual change. And you can understand fear.
Yeah.
I think if things are explained to people in a way that's put, that it's, when he was talking about the condoms,
Mm.
he was only trying to say this is to help people to not
Mm.
spread venereal disease.
Yeah. Or contraception as well.
But people were thinking, you know,
the slippery slope.
this is the end of the world.
This is the slippery slope. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it isn't. It's
Yeah.
only to protect people.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But he had a few. I didn't see during the week. There was a lot of programs on RTE, which is the Irish Television Network, about him. And there was the interview with the gay priest. Now he wasn't out at the time, but he was like a priest in the Catholic Church. But he was, what was his name, Bernard? He was ministering to the people with AIDS.
That one. No, I didn't see that one. I'd like to have seen that one.
Yeah,
I think I remember it years ago, but I didn't see it. The one I always remember, and it's been online a few times, is the one where he's interviewing a couple of Irish celebrities and Peter Sellers.
Oh yeah.
And Peter Sellers is talking about what was it? This guy who used to drink a lot of wine, and he was what celebrity was he? I can't remember, but he was talking about in this restaurant, Italian restaurant. He said, "Have you got any?" He wanted a short rather than wine. And your man said, "No, I don't. My license doesn't cover that. And I have this wine and that wine." And he said, "You know, the wine, this particular wine that he was going to give this man," he said, "the Pope drinks this."
Yeah.
And the way the Italian guy said it, he was looking around, he was going, "The Pope," and he was able to put it across in a very comedic way.
Yeah, yeah.
When your man tried the wine and everything else, he said, "Gee, my God," he said, "no wonder they have to carry him.
Yeah.
If he's drinking loads of this is amazing."
Well, you don't remember the interview with that priest?
It doesn't come to hand.
But basically, this priest was famous because he was ministering to people who had AIDS. So he was going in and helping them.
Yeah.
So he was a brilliant man.
I'd love to see it. I'm sure you can get it online.
Yeah, it'll be online.
Yeah.
It was a really famous. But Gay Byrne turns to him. Now he's in the guy's in his full priest. You know, he has the collar on, and he says to him, and very busy, "Are you gay, Father?" And he kind of caught him on the spot, and he went, "No, I'm not gay." And then it was afterwards. I read an interview with the priest a few years later, and he wasn't meant to ask him about that. I think the priest then came out as gay.
Yeah.
So he kind of put him on the spot, and he kind of, he kind of.
But
having said that, it needed the way he said it to him. It was just kind of casually.
Yeah.
Gay Byrne kind of asked him, "Are you gay, Father?"
Yeah.
And he said, "No." And "Oh, that's okay." Gay Byrne just went on. He just moved on.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing interview.
I'd like to have seen that one. I probably did see it, but it doesn't come to mind.
Classic.
Yeah.
There was also there was a few which didn't go so well. Annie Murphy, I don't know if you saw that one.
But he was a very close friend to
Bishop Casey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he would. I think it's like anything when you're a personal friend with anyone, you want to protect them.
Yeah.
Because he was so loved by the whole of Ireland.
Yeah.
But he did. I think the interview went well because at the end, you could see a poignancy in the lady herself when she said, I'm a good person too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. That
And,
saw that during the week actually.
and you could
I'm a good
see that,
Yeah, yeah,
you could see that in her. She was trying to reaffirm that to him,
yeah, yeah,
and he did acknowledge that,
yeah.
and you could see that there was a sadness in her
Mm.
eyes,
Mm.
that she felt she was being got at,
Yeah,
and you know, he said to her about, your ability. He wouldn't have been aware of relationships being celibate, and you were more aware of being the woman. So did you seduce him?
yeah,
And
yeah. He was a bit.
and that was a
contemplate-
bit
Yeah,
cruel
yeah.
because
It was very unfair, really.
when
It
you
was
fall
blatant.
in love with someone,
Yeah,
you don't seduce them.
yeah, yeah,
You love them,
yeah,
and the love comes in a purely natural way.
yeah.
At least that's the way I would see love in that way.
And was there any other interviews that stood out for you by Gay Byrne?
I remember one time a lady rang me being big into science fiction. He had William Shatner on in
Oh,
1990.
oh, wow.
And I remember
Crikey.
some friends of mine were in the Late Late Show at the time because
Yeah.
they organised the first Star Trek convention in 1993.
Right.
And I remember they got to meet him,
William Shatner.
William Shatner. And I remember talking to them afterwards and saying, what was he like? And they said, like, it was like meeting
Amazing.
Jesus, So it was really funny,
Yeah, yeah.
But he covered all sorts of things. He hadn't been in Ireland very often, and he talked about walking down Grafton Street and stuff like that. And
he's got so much passion, William Shatner. Hasn't he? He just never ages. He's a bit like Gay Byrne. He's got the same. Graham Norton was saying about Gay Byrne that when he went on the Late Late Show, it was a big moment for him. He was making it in England, and he got his moment on the Late Late. I think they did three of them with Terry Wogan.
Yeah.
And his dad, Graham Norton's dad, came up from the country, and he was so proud. And Graham Norton said, "I've made it now. I'm on the Late Late." Like it really was.
But you see, that was it. He was our Johnny Carson.
He was Johnny Carson.
To get on his show was amazing.
Yeah.
I remember at one time too, he did interview Oliver Reed, and Oliver Reed was a little bit inebriated.
Yeah.
And Gay kind of quipped him over that.
Yeah.
And said no, but he didn't say it in a nasty way. He just said, I think you've had a snootful, because he was slurring his words, and he was getting a little bit irate with some other people. He did have him back, and Oliver Reed was, more respectful looking. He wasn't as dishevelled, and he had a suit and he had glasses. And Gay thanked him and said, you look really well. And he said, I'm very happy to have you back.
Yeah.
So
was the old-time classic interview with that politician, and he got him with the three houses.
Oh,
Pádraig Flynn.
Pádraig Flynn.
I mean, that's beyond the last this week.
But that man should have had a lot more cop on, because it was literally someone bragging.
Yeah.
On a major way.
But I think he sort of felt it is hard for me with these three houses, and how am I surviving? I'm such a victim.
It was pathetic.
It was pathetic.
Because
I'm sure
if the man watches that back, he must be cringing.
Oh, I'd love to. You know what? I'd actually love to hear what he thinks about it. But there was a photo of him and Gay Byrne, a couple of years later at a book launch or something, and it was just kind of water under the bridge for them, But it's amazing what happened there. Well, just fill in for anyone who doesn't know. The interview was with the politician, and he's kind of say, Gay Byrne asked him, "Did you get money from Tommy?" But didn't you ask him, "You got money from Tom Gilmartin?" He'd asked him, and he said, "No."
Yeah.
But then, of course, Tom Gilmartin was watching the program in England.
That's right.
And he actually started. He wasn't going to do anything about it. But then he submitted to the tribunal.
He was quite offended the way your man spoke about it.
Because he said, his wife isn't well. What does he was giving it to his wife?
Well, he was saying things that your man didn't want aired in public.
Yeah.
No one would want to have talking about your wife or any spouse, being ill or whatever. That's none of people's business. So
he was motivated.
He betrayed confidence.
Yeah. So then the builder wasn't going to go to the tribunals. There was tribunals then in Ireland to do with corruption.
Yeah.
But then he went to the tribunal, and he was the star witness, really. Yeah. Well, and he spilled the beans. He just.
Oh yeah.
And it was all because of this interview on the Late Late Show.
But you see, your man should have had been a politician and been articulate.
Yeah.
He should have realised what he was doing. But then again, hindsight is a great thing in
Yeah.
lots of ways.
Yeah.
But I remember too.
It was just meant to be.
Yes.
Just to get that feeling,
yeah,
this was the universe unfolding,
That's it.
and
And I think there's something about, if you're on the spot like that in that circumstances, any of us will slip up.
yeah.
And Gay himself
Yeah.
admitted he slipped up many of the
Yeah.
time.
To be fair to the other guy, I mean, that was the culture of the time.
Yeah.
It was he wasn't.
Well, it was
that
very much the brown envelope culture.
Well, it was literally
Yeah.
the brown envelope
Yeah.
and the 500. I don't know if you remember at the Dublin Corporation where they would do the planning decisions for the building, the Green Party TD or councillor, he got up with a check. There was consternation. He got a check for £500 or something, and he held it up. I've got this check here. And there was uproar. Oh, this is shocking. What are you doing? He was exposed. It was all sort of unraveling the whole little system. But yeah, poor Finney certainly wasn't alone. So shall we say?
Majorly damaged him.
Oh, I don't know what he
because he seemed to fall down a hole after that and never really heard much about it.
Was he in with? I don't know who was he allied to Charlie Haughey or was he allied to Albert Reynolds? I can't remember
now. I'm not big on.
Was he in with Albert? I can't remember.
Could have been.
I honestly can't remember.
But another late moment stands out for me is the one when Billy Connolly came on.
Oh yeah.
And he was talking about in Scotland when you'd be going to parties.
Yeah.
And the singing, and it was all Camalias, and the way it felt. The word Camalia, like people would say a particular song.
Yeah.
And you'd get a word here or there, but with the Scottish accent, it was kind of, and you couldn't understand a word, and the person would go into that, and they were probably so inebriated that people were saying, "What the hell did he say?" I don't understand that. But Billy Connolly was able to bring over that comedic thing, being a comedian.
Yeah.
He was able to bring over that atmosphere and drew you into. That kind of thing, and Gay was just broken up by the way he brought it.
I think Billy Connolly was on a few times. Yeah. But Gay Byrne, he was also on the radio, so he had the radio slot in the mornings.
And the iconic music of the radio show.
That's so good.
I can remember hearing that as a kid.
But as well, at the time, if you were a woman and you had a job in the civil service, like you were a teacher or you had some job and you got married, you had to leave that job.
Yeah.
Now, my mother was a teacher. She got married. She had to leave, and it's just unbelievable when you look back. Yeah. But I think for Gay Byrne, he is some kind of a feminist icon because when he went on the radio, he had access. A lot of his listeners were people, women at home, looking after the family, raising the kids, and they would write these letters into the show, isn't that into his radio show, and they would spit out their beans. I'm married to my husband.
And often there were very simplistic things, and often they were very harrowing.
So down to earth. And the women, Gay Byrne was kind of on. He was kind of on their side. He was a feminist basically, and I confronted the woman wrote in. I confronted my husband, and he's a businessman, and he was off in London, and I went to his hotel, and and she had sacrificed every, and just he uncovered all these things about Ireland, and the baby, the Anne Lovett who died in Longford, wasn't it, when she was 14?
That's right.
She gave birth in the grotto,
the babies,
and she died. The baby died,
sad,
and that was, it was not the saddest thing ever.
But he uncovered the hidden Ireland.
Yeah. Now he actually gave out. He didn't give out, but he was on the Friday Night Late. He was kind of he said something. I think he kind of regretted. He kind of passed over that story. He didn't quite appreciate what had happened. But then in the week, all the people wrote in, and it was just shocking. Yeah. This is meant to be holy Catholic Ireland. We're meant to be loving and Christians and all this. And here we have a 14-year-old kid dying in a grotto.
Oh yeah.
Jeepers.
Unbelievable. I mean, it wouldn't happen today. At least I hope it wouldn't. But then you don't know. It's hard to understand. It was
just that now if that happens, it's a better place if that happens to you.
Well, with 24-hour media, I don't think it would happen as readily today.
No, if you're young like that and you got pregnant, I'm sure it does happen.
Yeah.
You'd hope you could have the baby, or have a termination.
Yeah.
That's the law now in Ireland. Now, I wonder about the terminations in Ireland. I mean, we have passed a referendum a couple of years ago that we completely, so in this whole Ireland of gay burns, there was definitely no abortion. But that's all been completely overturned by the abortion referendum, where nearly 70% of the people voted to get rid of the old law, which saw women traveling over to England to get abortions. Oh, shocking. Just traveling over on the boat.
No, it was
export the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and just terrible.
But that's why you would think that the Catholic Church would be more embracive of contraceptives, because to stop. I remember saying that to a priest one time.
What did he say?
And he basically said, "No, it's immoral. We can't accept it." And I said, "But the fact," I said, "it's protecting promiscuous sex, and it's protecting people from having unwanted pregnancies."
You know what gets me about these guys is they're told not to make any judgments. Don't judge.
They're very judgmental.
And they go around judging everything. Everything. Oh, they judge this, they judge that. This is right, that's wrong. You shouldn't have fish on Friday. You know, and you shouldn't go to England for an abortion. Oh,
crazy!
Just unbelievable.
It's like the same with homosexuality. If you happen to be homosexual and you fall in love with somebody, especially in Gay Byrne's era, you would have thought of yourself as maybe some sort of a degenerate, because you were afraid of coming out and saying this to your family, because the majority of people in Gay Byrne's Ireland was Catholic. So
he definitely broke the
ostracized.
But
he
broke
done shows where he helped people in that time.
He interviewed a lot of the LGBT community, didn't he?
And he didn't make. I remember there was one particular show where one guy said it in a very blunt way about homosexuality. You're just interested in.
Oh, that's the classic. The
backside. And Gay Byrne said, "Well, what about men who are interested in women on the front side?"
You know, he said, but you're obsessed with the woman's front passage." And that's an all-time. That's a classic moment. And I remember hearing that.
That was very good that he stood up.
Totally.
Because that chap must have felt, the way the man was ostracizing him in that way.
But he must have felt like a gobshite. Because he was being a total gobshite.
Who was able to sort of stand up for him. And
I think if I was going to give an all-time moment, I think it might be that one, when he said that to that person. Well, you're obsessed with a woman's front passage. Which is true. And the way that brings up other issues of like at the time, men were kind of it's like what's the guy Tommy Tiernan, who's a mega Gay Byrne fan. Are you a fan of Tommy Tiernan?
I like him. He said one thing I remember about love. And he said, "Love doesn't judge whether you're gay or lesbian or straight. Love is love. If you love someone, you love them from your heart. And the rest is the mechanics of how you negotiate love. But you love with your heart and your mind first."
Simple as that. But Tommy Tiernan, I mean, I think was it on the Late Late, and he was talking about men and the way they act, and at the time, mostly heterosexual. Now we've got this big Gaylord thing going. We've got this huge big Gaylord thing. Oh, he's a Gaylord. And then he talks about girls and they're having their sleepovers and stuff, and there's boobies flying everywhere. He says, I just thought it was a classic moment from Tommy Tiernan. It was a mega. It was interesting seeing during the week how close Tommy Tiernan and Gay Byrne were. My God, Gay Byrne.
Well, he was at his wedding.
Oh, was he at his wedding and everything?
He mentioned that.
And it was amazing seeing Tommy Tiernan so young when he started, he's just done so well, hasn't he? So Martin, can I just ask you, what we're actually doing here?
Well, we're setting up to try and set up a chat show, and hopefully it'll work. And we'll see. We'll take it from there. Hopefully you'll interview other people and friends of yours and different people. And
I don't have that many.
Hope you'll ask me back. And we'll do something like this again, and do it for fun. And remember, like the chat.
It's nice
show,
having a chat, isn't it? Actually, it's good starting with Gay Byrne, isn't it?
Yes. Well, it's current.
It's
but
he's just the king of the
what
chat.
he meant to us as ourselves growing up. You would have different memories to me because I'm that bit older than you. So you would have a different memory probably of Gay Byrne and what he meant to you.
I mean, he's the maestro. I think everyone kind of realised as the show went on and we were kind of growing up through the 80s,
Yeah.
and Ireland was modernising
Plus the music, the theme tune.
for the
When it
radio.
would start, to whom it concerns.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I
To
thought that
whom
was a
it-
lovely,
yeah.
it was very different.
Yeah, is
From
Ryan
any
Turbiddy?
other-
Ryan Turbiddy took over the show, and he's been in it for 10 years. Is he using? He went back to it, didn't he? Pat Kenny got
He's
rid-
gone back to the owl, which
Oh, yeah.
was the iconic thing of the Late Late Show. The
Does he
owl
not
was
do the
always.
guy who did the voice?
He's also done that as well.
Yeah.
In his new in the current show that started recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has.
He's
done
had it a
that.
long time now, Ryan
Yeah.
Turbiddy.
I
As well.
think about 10 years,
10
yeah.
years now, yeah. So he's. So, and we're going to call this show. What are we going to call it? After Dark.
After Dark, I think.
Yeah.
I always remember that chat show when I used to. come
Which
in
is
with
a
my
nice
friend,
intro.
Eugene.
I'm low on the wine,
Yeah.
so I'm going to nip over and get myself a little glass of wine.
Okay.
Are you
Okay.
okay? Would you
I'm
like some more?
fine. No,
You're
I'm
okay?
okay. I'm okay. For the
Okay,
time
I'll
being.
just I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'll tap myself up here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a mouthful.
It is after dark. It is Friday.
Mm.
It is time for a chat.
And you have
in
this
Dublin.
lovely backdrop
Yeah.
behind us.
So hopefully we'll get this going, you know. And the technology was a bit easier than I thought it was going to be, didn't we? With webcams and all that.
But I think it's your set. It's
you like the
perfect.
set? Yeah.
That backdrop and the way you have everything.
Yeah.
I think any of your other friends that will come
Yeah.
and whatever they want to talk about in whatever, they'll be relaxed that they're not lights in their face because no one
Yeah.
likes that.
Not too much brightness, like yeah.
Especially women, you know, if you're
Yeah.
interviewing any girls,
Yeah.
they be conscious of their makeup and their hair, and
No, that's
so
it,
you know.
yeah. What was I going to say to you? Speaking of Gabe Byrne,
Mhm.
do you remember one thing I loved with him was now it's the summer I was kind of off for my school holidays, and one summer in the 80s there was all this thing about the moving statues. Do you remember the religious thing?
I remember going with my mother down. We were down.
Really?
in
You
Brighton,
went?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
And my aunt brought us over to Bagnallstown, where
Okay.
there was supposed to be
Moving
moving
statue.
statues.
And was there a big crowd there and everything?
Huge big crowd.
Wow.
This was around 1985, 86.
But the radio show,
And I thought it was so funny.
and you
I
were
was
saying
only
this is a
young
joke.
at the
What
time.
age were you? Were you a teenager then, or
I,
no? You were.
I
You were a bit
85,
older.
30 years ago. I'm
Wow.
57
Or do you want to say?
now.
Do you want to reveal those details?
Well, do the math. I'm 57 now.
My maths,
85.
after these, I've had 3 glasses of wine now, so math is not going to work.
Well, I was 20-ish somewhere.
20-ish,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But every morning in that summer on the Late Late Show, there would be these moving statues.
Mm.
Do you remember? And Gay would be on saying, who was the girl, the roving reporter? He'd have these roving reporters.
Yeah.
Mary, where are you today? I'm down at Athlone today. There's a huge crowd. There was a huge crowd last night. They saw her moving. The statue moved. So to fill in for anyone who's watching who's not from Ireland, basically in this summer in the 80s, this person reported that she saw a statue moving in Kerry or somewhere, and then so it happened that there was crying. The statue of Mary was crying, and people believed this, and they went to these places. And did you see there was a great documentary by RTE on
Oh, yeah.
and all these this is why I love Ireland. They'd have all these fish and chip vans.
Yeah.
So they'd have a huge crowd.
And
The hot dog, get your hot dogs, get your
in the
hamburgers,
summertime, yeah.
and huge crowd waiting. And they'd
And
always
hopefully see
always-
Jesus move.
this
Mary.
other Mary moved.
Yeah.
Mary, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw her move. She moved. You know.
But but you see, it shows the innocence of the time, because I mean, if you stare at anything for long enough, and you're caught up in the moment with other people,
Yeah.
you will think
Yeah.
you're seeing something moving. It's like if
Yeah.
you're in the dark,
Yeah.
if you're lying in your bed
Mm.
and you can't sleep, and you look, you'll see little.
Uh,
They look like little
dots of
pixels,
colours and all this.
and it's because of the way the light's reflecting in from your room, from your bedroom, street lights. So you'll see these little things,
Yeah.
and you can actually think, is there somebody in the room with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and you can frighten yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the same thing with moving statues. I used to find. I remember.
But you
only went
believe what you
once,
want to believe, isn't that it?
But it was the innocence. There was a lovely innocence about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I found it as a young person
Yeah.
hysterically funny.
Yeah,
Like, these people mental.
I remember thinking, like Gabe Byrne was, he wouldn't sort of say these are all crazy. He didn't. He kept the door. He kept it. He said, He didn't make a judgment on it.
Well,
But he thought it was funny.
No,
You know,
he had a sense of, we'd say, like what that iconic figure Mr. Spock would say.
yeah.
There are always possibilities.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
He kept the door open.
Yeah.
Maybe like that there was some spirit.
And you have to,
Yeah.
because like people have seen all sorts of things. People have been seeing UFOs for
Yeah.
hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And the same way with anyone that can come from. I mean, I remember one time when we were getting the house blessed, where we are now in Clondalkin, and the priest talking about. I remember saying to him about, "Your priests are the first people I've heard talk about portals
Mm.
when they go into a house. If it's any way, if they sense anything, a bad presence or whatever, they say there's a portal in that room."
Yeah. Into
So-
really, if they're doing an exorcism
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
There, yeah.
So, like, again, we don't know.
Mm.
Things can cross over if
There's a
they're
lot of-
invited.
I think the portal thing is interesting because people are opening up to the fact that we're in this world, and is the present moment now, is it like a portal?
Well, it's like the one thing I read. I remember reading White Magic when I was a kid, interested in witchcraft as such, but not interested in witchcraft per se, but interested in the fact of, is there something else?
As long as you don't turn me into a frog with me,
No.
okay.
But words have ciphers in them, especially
Oh yeah,
witchcraft
words are very powerful. Oh yeah.
And how do we know that it isn't a form of technology within the words?
Well, in the beginning was the word.
Because it's the sound, it's the way they say it, the intonation and the way they say a certain word or phrase of words. It's like we'd say when you think of Aladdin, or you think of the Arabian Nights, and you think of the way they supposedly opened caves, and they'd say a particular set word, and the sound, was it sound activated with the way the word would, if it was a computer, it would understand the words that was keyed into it.
But did the universe begin with the words? I mean,
It's
is that
hard
the
to
book
know.
of, I don't know the book, but the
Hard to know.
book
They
of John or
keep
something?
saying about a big bang, but what is a big bang? Is it, you know, in life, when you make love to somebody, if you're a man and woman and you make love,
It's been a while for me, but anyway.
people say the earth moves, you know.
Yeah.
So is that a big bang in a sense?
Maybe it comes
Without
to a
getting
stop.
pornographic here.
Maybe it comes to a stop, you know.
Let's keep it clean.
Your nephew said to keep it clean.
Keep it
didn't he?
clean
Yeah,
and funny.
Keep it clean.
and funny. Yeah.
Okay. So what was I going to say to you? Well, this has been great to have you here now. Just see how we're doing. We were going to do a half hour. Are we going to do half-hour shows? Was that the plan?
Yeah.
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 So we'll see you out here again. And hopefully,
But you see, if you have bullet points, you're able to know how long to keep a subject going.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going.
We were going to talk about other things, weren't we? But we ended up talking about Gerber and other.
Yeah,
but I think it's nice
we
because
got the premise of what we wanted to talk about.
he's such a legend. Like he the more I think about him, and when he retired, like everyone was really upset. Like he was sort of like a daddy figure, wasn't he? He was
the daddy of RTV television, really.
He was the daddy of Ireland, basically.
I remember the interview where he's in Trinity College and Mike Murphy came behind him and was pretending to be a really foreign guy.
Oh yeah, priceless.
That was brilliant.
But Mike Murphy, it was great hearing Mike Murphy during the week, and that I think Mike Murphy found, because he was doing really, like they had Gay Byrne, and then you had Mike Murphy, and the two of them.
Oh yeah.
And Mike Murphy was all set to be a big star, like he already was a big star on Irish TV. But he kind of thought the workload, I think it was too much for him. He dropped out, didn't he?
Yeah, he had made his money because he put money into property and different things, and he just got tired of the limelight, the pressures.
Yeah,
he felt he wasn't having a life.
Yeah, he got a bit sick of it all.
Yeah.
And he was telling Gay Byrne, it was amazing hearing him talk during the week, and he's like, "Oh, Gay, why don't you take a break, man? You're overdoing it." Gay Byrne was a workaholic, wasn't he? Absolutely.
No, Mike Murphy was more a businessman. He got into the business side. When he obviously had made his money, so he put it into property and different things. And then he wanted to just exit from the limelight.
Yeah.
Gay liked the limelight.
Yeah.
And he was interested in meeting people and meeting celebrities and meeting the ordinary Joe Soap. And that's what he loved. It was like a drug to him. He loved it. He had a great passion for it.
One thing about Gay Byrne, I remember from the radio show that summer when I listened to him every morning, and I have my rashers in the morning, and I do grilled tomatoes every single morning. Gay Byrne would be on. I remember these people would come on, and they were sort of like they were kind of famous, but not on the world stage. But they'd maybe written a book or done something or made a business or done something that they deserved to be on the radio show. And in the interview, I was like 16, and I remember these people had such lives, and they either died or they should have died, or this happened and that happened, and they had no money and constant trouble.
Yeah.
Constant trouble. I remember eating my sandwich thinking, jeepers, how is this person even alive? And being amazed at all these, they're all in their 50s, and I was like a teenager. Thinking, God, these people are amazing.
Yeah.
They're every single day. And I think, where does Gay Byrne get these people from?
Yeah.
There was, oh, jeepers.
But he brought him some quirky characters as well.
Yeah.
You know.
But he what a legend. The more I think about it, you know, it's
but it's
we
like
were very lucky to have
But it's
witnessed
like
him,
what
really.
you just said there about the memory that
Yeah.
it brings back to you about your food, the food that you remember. It's like anything like that, like with a song, the way it'll bring you back to a moment in your life. He
Yeah.
brought you back to a moment that was precious to you,
Totally, yeah.
and that's poignancy, you know.
One thing with there is the famous incident where U2 on his farewell show, Bono and Larry arrived with the
And they bought
motorbike.
him the bike, yeah.
Now I thought he didn't use that motorbike. I thought that was,
Yeah.
he actually used it
Yeah.
every day. And he went.
I think it showed in the Gaybo documentary that he done in 2005.
Yeah.
It showed his house.
Yeah.
It showed him coming out of his
in
drive
on the Harley.
and everything. In the
Oh
house,
yeah. Yeah.
you know. But it showed him on the bike.
Yeah. Oh, he really used it. I thought that was just like, is he going to use it? But U2 knew he liked scooters, so.
But it's like with my brother Bob. I mean, he's 75 and he has a Harley.
Yeah.
And
really?
he likes driving.
Yeah.
You know, he's often gone down the country and he likes the idea of the wind in the hair type of thing. You know.
No, it was amazing seeing Gay Byrne on the. Well, you couldn't really see him with the helmet.
No.
But,
no, but again, some men like that. They like that looseness of, you know, whereas when you're in a car, you've got the walls of the car, so to speak.
Yeah.
Whereas the freedom of, you feel the air, even though you have the helmet on you for protection and a good coat, but you're still free.
Yeah,
and some guys like that.
Yeah.
It was frightening the life out of me.
I'm a cyclist for the last 15 years because I failed my driving test. So I've been cycling, and you do get this.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not as fast as like a scooter or a motorbike, but you know, you get this freedom, and I'm so used to it now. I couldn't imagine life without being on a bicycle.
Yeah.
I really couldn't.
I remember my brother Michael telling me my one time when he was about 17, and this is going back a long time because he was born in 1945, and he got caught between two buses.
Really?
And whatever way
he was going in between them.
Yeah, and he just got off the bike and left.
Left, really.
And he sort of, I think he got within earshot because he remembered hearing people saying something, you know, in a very derogatory fashion. But the bike was still left back up against the wall somewhere. It wasn't damaged or anything. He was expecting it to be damaged. You know? But he remembered the fact he was only a kid, and he wasn't able to get it out between the two buses.
Yeah.
So he felt he had to skedaddle. He thought he was going to get into serious trouble.
Yeah.
You know.
So listen, great to chat to you tonight, Martin.
And you too. Thanks for inviting me.
No, hopefully you'll be back here again. And,
please God.
You can bring some nice wine again.
Yeah, definitely.
You look like you could do the top up there.
No, I'm not too bad. I'll take my time.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for having me.
we'll wrap it up there.
Okay.
Listen, thanks everyone for watching. We'll hopefully be online next Friday. So subscribe to the channel below. And I would, if you've enjoyed the show, maybe YouTube Gay Byrne moments, Gay Byrne highlights. Your mind will be blown by Gay Byrne because he's such a legend. Okay, see you next week. Now, how do I stop this thing?